All right, welcome to lesson 2 of unit 2. We're going to start by talking about heart rate zones. So we've got 3 different zones we kind of look at here, categorized as. There's low intensity. This is our 50 to 60% of our maximum heart rate. What we're burning primarily here is our, primarily we're going to be burning our fats, but we'll burn some carbs as well. So we're not burning a lot of fats here, but this is where you start to see fats burned. So we burn more fats than our carbs in this area, though. What that looks like and feels like for our bodies. So at this stage, it's going to be easy. You're not going to be really having to catch your breath, so it's going to be easier to breathe, and you can still talk. So that's a good little test when you're doing activity. It's called a talk test to kind of see where you're at exhaustion-wise. So if you can talk, you're going to be close, talk easily. It's going to be in a low intensity. So this has little to no sweat as well for our bodies. Now, looking at the moderate intensity, this is where we're at 60 to 80% of our target, or of our maximum heart rate. This is kind of like our target heart rate zone, right? So our target heart rate is 60 to 85%. And that's kind of what our moderate intensity would look like. So here we primarily are burning, we're burning carbs and fats at about the same rate. So they're equal amounts are burning there. So it's not more one than the other. We're burning both. Like I said, at equal amounts. So more than we're burning in our low intensity, we're burning about equal amounts, but not too much here. So then at a look and feel, what that looks and feels like for our bodies. So here, you're going to start to have a little bit of like a labored breath, so it's going to be a little harder to breathe, but you're not going to be trying to like gasp and catch your breath. So you're still going to be able to kind of breathe easily, but it still have a little more challenge than you would in a low intensity workout. And so at that point, then you can still talk, but it might be a little harder to talk. Here we're going to start to kind of break a sweat, more of a sweat, and your heart rate is going to be kind of pumping at a rapid pace. So you're going to kind of feel your heart rate pumping here. Now, when we get into our high intensity, this is somewhere where we don't spend a lot of time in because it's 80 to 90% of our maximum heart rate. So this is like an area that's kind of hard to spend a lot of time in because you'll get a lot of exhaustion. What we're burning primarily here is going to be our carbohydrates. So this is where we burn the most carbs. Lots and lots of carbs are burned here. That's very important to know. We still burn some fats, but this is where we burn the least amount of fats, actually. We burn more fat in both our moderate and low intensity than we do in our high intensity. So what this looks like and feels like for our bodies, here you're going to have that labored breathing. It's going to be harder to kind of catch your breath, and it's going to be very hard to talk, do that talk test. So it's going to be hard to talk here. You're not going to be able to probably talk because you're trying to catch your breath here. You're going to have a super fast breathing, like I said, and then also this is where we have lots of exhaustion. I kind of said, this is an area where you spend a lot of time in because you're going to have that high exhaustion. So looking at what kind of the goal of each of these training zones would be. So in low intensity, we're going to have a high endurance. So you can increase your endurance there because you're working on kind of just going for a long pace because you're at that 50 to 60% of your heart rate, of maximum heart rate. Moderate intensity, we're going to have a high caloric expenditure, or we're going to be burning a lot more of our calories. And then high intensity is where we're going to have an improve in our speed and kind of like our strength there. And that's really kind of targeting like our fast twitch fibers, if you think about it that way, because we're getting those short, fast movements. Now, moving into why we should care about our heart rate. So why should we monitor our heart rate? Is it something that's necessary? It's not really necessary. Is it helpful? Absolutely. We talked about a bunch of different ways that you can monitor through things like watches, chest straps, on cardio equipment, and also manually. So some of those benefits of measuring is it can help you kind of track your progress of how you're doing, how your cardiovascular health is, where some ways you can make some improvements. So it's really nice to have this as a tracking system while you're working out, because maybe you're noticing that you're not in that zone that you want to be working out in to try and target those certain areas, or maybe you're trying to really target on burning fats and you're not hitting that area. So you can kind of adjust your workout as you go. It also helps track your overall health. A lot of times they use heart rate monitors to check certain areas to see if your heart is functioning normal throughout a day. So it's nice to have that to just kind of be aware. But it also can be used as a motivation tool. So seeing a number of where you need to kind of be at or where you're trying to get to can be a motivation tool to just work harder. Like I said, we don't have to use a heart rate monitor or monitor our heart rate, but it is very helpful, like I said, and up above all of the extra things there. Now, manually checking your heart rate, that's where we talk about seeing on your wrist where your pulse is, or up on your neck on your carotid artery. This is super helpful, and the best part about it is it's free. So you don't need something fancy to check your heart rate, and you can still get the same data that you need to help improve your workouts. So manually monitoring is just as efficient and helpful. Now, looking at target heart rate zone, so like I said, this is about the zone that would be a moderate intensity. So we're at 60 to 85% of our maximum heart rate. So I'm just writing here what my maximum heart rate is. So again, take a maximum heart rate, you do 220 minus your age. So I'm 22. So my maximum heart rate is 198. So then I'm taking 60% of that, which is my 119, and 85%, which is 168. So that would be my target heart rate zone. So that's where I'm kind of trying to aim. So now, why do we need to know this, or how often should we be trying to target that area or work in that area? So it's recommended that we try to get there about 3 times a week for about 20 minutes. This is how you can really improve your cardiovascular health and maintain it. It's really important because as you grow older, it can be a lot harder to do. Anyways, this is where we're at now. So we're going to end here. I'm going to start a quiz at the end here to kind of review everything that we've done. Again, if you have any questions, make sure to come up and ask us, and we'll be able to help you with this. So hopefully this helped kind of clear up some things that you were maybe not getting out of our lesson.